when he says that, when we use the word sin, do you guys know what sin is? Do we really? Because some people, oh, it's just bad behavior. Okay, according to who? See, we don't like to talk about sin. We don't like to use the word sin in this modern culture, right? In fact, there are churches that I probably said sin more times than you will hear in 6 months in some churches. Now, I'm not here to pick on them, but what I'm saying is I don't think we understand what this thing is. Sin, what is that? What does that mean? Well, technically, the word in the Greek and in the Hebrew means an offense against God. It means to offend God or to be against God's will, right? It is betrayal, okay, like what Judas did, like what Adam and Eve did in the garden, is treachery against God. It is all these things, right, are sin. But sin isn't a thing. It's the absence of something. Let me try and explain it this way. Imagine, if you will, okay, imagine, if you will, and I don't have a graphic, I'm sorry, I'm not a good artist, but imagine, if you will, if here's God, and here's you, and there's this, let's call it an umbilical cord from you to God. And you know, like in a mother, through the umbilical cord, what you get nutrients, right? Nutrients, like with the mother, the child receives all the nutrients because that child is totally dependent on the mother for the nutrients, right? For it to be healthy and strong. It's like all the spirit, everything good about God, his goodness, his life, his light, everything that is good travels through that cord to you, right? Everything that is good. And so spiritually, you're all connected. Jesus said it like this. He said, I am the vine, you are the branches, right? Unless you remain in me, you cannot bear fruit. In other words, unless we are connected, there's no life, light, goodness. Oh, you can try to copy it, God's goodness, but you'll fail. So there's this cord, right, from us to God. And we're thinking, man, light, life, everything is good. But what happened in the garden, what happened with Adam and Eve, what happened in Genesis was that Adam and Eve, our ancestors, we, humanity, cut the cord. And what happens when you cut that cord that's supplying all the good spiritual things to you? Something dies inside. The light goes dark. And that darkness sits inside. And now you're not functioning, kind of like, you know, if you have a healthy body and you're getting nutrients, all of a sudden you cut those nutrients, you're not eating right. You know what happens when you don't eat right and you don't exercise? How do you feel? How do you feel? Slug. Like, I feel like I feel today, Pastor Dave. Right? How do you feel? Right? That's you spiritually when you are disconnected from the source, which is God. When you cut that line, when we cut that line, we're disconnected. And the Bible tells us that we are all born with that disconnection. We are all born of humanity. We already are disconnected from God. We're broken on the inside. So sin is that brokenness inside. It's the darkness inside. However, when Jesus Christ died on the cross for your sins, when he shed his blood for you, what he did, he paid the price for that rebellion. He paid the price for all that treachery, for all humanity and all the rebellion and all that ever was and that ever will happen. He paid it from the past. He paid it for the future. Every evil thing that people would do, he paid it all. All of it. Not just for your sin, for all eternity, all sin in the past, all the millions of sins that people will commit, everything, he paid it. So why? We could connect the line back to God and receive the light again from God into our lives and no longer be ruled by sin. Now we have power over the darkness. Now we can say, no darkness, I have the light of God in me. That is salvation.